right. Good evening. It is 8:08 p.m. I'm a little late. I apologize. We had an OBS update tonight, and it took a long time to, you know, get it going. I don't know what the heck's going on, but we fixed it. A little bit of a false start on a stream there, so we're going with the second one with the backup here. So thanks very much for joining me. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it very much. Happy June. It is, of course, June 2026, June the 1st. So we're into the last few weeks of this whole thing. The Stanley Cup Finals are right around the corner. Vegas, Carolina. Who do you think wins? Who are we cheering for? I believe, I imagine the popular choice is Carolina. It seems, especially after today, with some of the things going on. Also, a happy Pride Month. It is now June officially. So, to any of you who celebrate or have people in your life that means a lot to them, happy Pride Month. It's always a good time, as I do, which is lovely. Also, happy Caleb Malhotra Day. Malhotra's scouting report came out today. I've already seen it hit the Vancouver Canucks subreddit, which was bad for my mental health, for sure. Definitely bad for my mental health. But nonetheless, sometimes you gotta read through everybody combing through all your work and pointing out all of your mistakes, and that's really just how it goes. But I mean, yeah. What can you do? What can you do? I've got my thoughts. I got my takes, and I'm never gonna back down. Never backing down. Never gonna give up. Never gonna give up on those. Also, I did forget to mention, and I can't believe I did this on Thursday, but I gotta ship over some condolences to the family of Claude Lemieux. Obviously an enormous loss to the hockey community. I grew up watching Claude Lemieux. He was just the dirtiest jerk on the ice available that you could go out and get. Winning a Stanley Cup. I grew up kind of a Red Wings fan. A family friend of ours is related to Steve Yzerman when I was growing up. And so the distaste for the Colorado Avalanche fueled very much by Claude Lemieux's antics at times. Definitely is a seminal memory for me growing up. So anyway, obviously it's a huge loss for the sport. And he was one of the ones of all time, man. He was a guy, and obviously a very successful agent, and obviously very meaningful to a lot of people who were clients of his and people in his life. So obviously, I apologize for not mentioning that on Thursday, but it just slipped my mind. But anyway. Anyway, welcome to the show. We are really close to the end of the year, man. I did some tracking today. Not gonna lie, it's getting hard. It's getting real hard to keep going and to keep the train going at this point. Not learning a whole lot, honestly. All the tracking for videos is done, so we're kind of in the home stretch here. We have 2 scouting reports in production right now. I'm going to be recording at least 2 more tomorrow. Maybe I want to be done them all by Wednesday, so that does include Stenberg and McKenna. I know a lot of people are asking. So you're going to be seeing 2 more reports this week. We got Tomas Horenko on Wednesday, and then we're going to do Gleb Pugachev on Friday. And then I'll spoil it now for anybody watching. Colin Blyle and Lynn are next week. We're going with fun. We're going for a fun week. And then we're doing a best of the rest the week after. We're doing a best of the rest. So 5 guys and a goalie that I've really, really liked that might not be on everybody's radar. And then Ivar Stenberg. And then finally Gavin McKenna, last but not least. And we're going to have some fun. It's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see the feedback that we're gonna get on that one. It's gonna be fun. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally there. Obviously as well, sometime this week, I don't know exactly when, I'll be opening registration for the Scouching Community Mock Draft, which is going to happen at the end of the month. We're going to open that up to subscribers first. So if you're not a subscriber at scouching.ca, if you're not a member of the YouTube channel, or of the Discord server, I should say, definitely get registered now if you want a chance. you get other stuff with the subscription too, but you get first dibs on a team for the community mock draft. Everybody gets 3 picks. It's not following an NHL team. Everybody gets 3 picks, and we just go through it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. What else is going on? We have the rankings are going to be finalized. Probably not next week, but the week after, and the write-up will get going then. We're going to also have a thing out about the takeaways from the draft simulator. So we're going to make some predictions based on the data that's coming out of it, which is very interesting to me. And there's going to be some interesting stuff to put out based on that. So again, thank you so much to everybody who's using it. It's been crazy to watch. I mean, I've seen people from all around the world using it. I think we're past like 10,000 usages, and only like 100 of them are me. So, so that's good. So I'm really happy with that. I know a couple of NHL people have reached out to me saying they're using it and they're getting some interesting stuff out of it. So really cool stuff, really exciting. And I'm really happy with how it's been. So yeah. What else is going on? I think that's it. I'm looking here. Yeah, mock draft registration. I don't know. Also, if you join up by tomorrow, tomorrow's goalie day in the Discord server. So we're gonna be plowing through some goaltenders throughout the day tomorrow, and it's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna watch a bunch of goaltenders, and I'm gonna try to learn what I can. But I think it's a good year for goaltending, so that's good too. Yeah, Brian, I hear you right off the bat, pouring one out for Matthew Hlocker, OHL and Memorial Cup champion who goes unsigned by Chayka. Yeah, another L for Team Chayka. Unfortunately, he continues to make a fool out of everybody, especially himself. One more fraudulent move after another from Chayka to hire or to bring Matthew Hlocker, or choose not to bring Matthew Hlocker into the equation. Unfortunate, you know. One of the more interesting draft picks that I've seen over the last few years, that's for sure. Couldn't keep listening to the LCD sound system at work. Really? They're pretty good. I mean, it depends. I mean, if you're listening to LCD sound system like all day, every day, then yeah, I mean, that's a lot, you know. Like, I really like Aphex Twin, but I can only handle so much. I really like Meshuggah, but I couldn't listen to that for 8 hours. You know, I hear you. I get where that's coming from. I did see as well that Anton Silayev signed with the Devils. Yes, big news out of New Jersey. Big New Jersey news. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, with Silayev, I'll tell you this: he is pretty much exactly the same player that I remember him being. And that's not a negative. I remember watching this season. I saw a couple of games of his in the playoffs at the NHL, and I remember going, okay, this is where I'm going to see Silayev really gunning for it and really showing that he's way too good to be down here. And yeah, no, I didn't see that. I'll tell you that much. Unfortunately, but he didn't look bad. But again, a big, good skating guy, and who knows what'll happen. You pair him with a Dougie Hamilton, you pair him with a Luke Hughes, you pair him with a Seamus Casey. You know, maybe there's something there. We'll see what happens, but boy, that first month of the season in his draft year was really something, and did a lot of legwork for him. But hey, you got him. I remember the concerns. Oh, he's never coming over. Oh, the same thing with every Russian. Oh, he's never coming over. Here we are. Thoughts on Gallagher leaving the Habs? Man, end of an era. I mean, like, you could kind of tell it was coming. I mean, he wasn't playing in the lineup, really. He's been injured quite a bit. The team's just kind of moved on, and it's just, I don't know. I think it's just, that's it. I think, I mean, he's got to be what? He's older than me, I think. He must be, or he's a little younger than me. Yeah, he's 34, right? Like, I think it's just time. Obviously, I mean, Gallagher for a very long time was one of my favorite players in the league. Like, not to say he's like one of the best in the league, but he was one of my favorites to watch. I mean, I don't know how how you couldn't really like that guy. He's the perfect scouch guy. Like, he just is such a rambunctious, physical guy who is aggressive and gets good scoring chances, and you never see him take a shift off, and you just love having a guy or two or five or seven like him on the team. It's just those guys also get old, right? Like, well, not old. I mean, I'm old, but you know, they age, man. Like, those guys, they age, and I don't know. It's unfortunate. Bill Zonin scored a goal. Okay, side note, we got to pause. I actually have a correspondent at the Marlies game tonight. My dear sister is at the game with her friend who's a Penguins fan. And she's giving me a lot of feedback on the game. She applied to the job of being a correspondent for me at hockey games. And she's there mostly for the vibes and the children that are screaming, "Let's go Marlies." And then the children crying after they get scored on. Yeah. She says that the beers are $20 and that's ridiculous, especially for a minor league game, but at least they're large. She said that the people riding the Zamboni on the intermission were very cute. They had a bunch of kids on the Zamboni. She said that was very cute, very adorable. And she says she wishes to be a Zamboni driver now. So this is her correspondence, by the way. This is happening live. That she said she wishes she were a Zamboni driver. It seems like she's considering becoming the Zamboni driver tonight. But she says it is illegal to drive a Zamboni drunk. And she sent it back to me. She asked for ticker tape reports on the stream. She said stuff like "man on the ice with a bucket," and there is now a picture. She sent me a picture of a man on the ice with a bucket. Marley's DJ is mixing Smash Mouth All Star with some dance hall beats. That's very entertaining. There's a service dog in the platinum section wearing Marley's gear as well. The fans booed the U.S. national anthem for a man singing unenthusiastically into the microphone. What else do we got here? She says that the women's washroom is spotless, but the hand dryer sucks. But she says, she's saying that fans are wondering if Medieval Times is actually better value for the money after the first period ends in a 2-0 disappointment. She does like Landon Sim. She just sent me a picture strictly of Landon Sim and just said Sim has level 10 hockey skills. So there's that. I think we have good. I think we've got good takes here. And I think I told her to look out for Bill Zanah, number 72 for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. And I'm going to text her saying Billy scored a goal, ? So there's that. So yeah, we have a correspondent patching in through text, ticker tape style, old stock market style, at the Toronto Marlies game. So we've got some good information, and maybe you'll see her riding the Zamboni later in the game. I don't know. She's had a few beers. She's had a couple. She's having a good time. Yeah. I think she's doing a good job, though. She's doing all right. Yeah, so we're choosing for Carolina. Yeah. Okay, so Flames get an additional first-round pick for Rasmus. Oh, is it they have to win the Stanley Cup? I thought it was if they get to the Stanley Cup, but I guess not. Thoughts on Corey Pronman's new mock draft? That's a good question. I did not really read it. I mean, I read the last one, and from flipping through this one really quickly, it feels like exactly this. It's very similar. But I could be wrong on that. This is another. Oh, it's a Canucks specific mock draft. That's another one that just dropped. I'm trying to find it. By the way, Zoran Mamdani repealing bedtime for the Knicks NBA Finals run. Good decision. I think that's good policy. Good policy. Okay. Do this. Okay. So what do we got here? The Leafs taking McKenna. Yeah, what else is new? Sharks and Chase Reed, whatever. Malhotra to Vancouver, whatever. The Malhotra noise in Vancouver has become palpable to the point where I question how much of it is real. Tell me something I don't know. Holy smokes. Stenberg to Chicago. I mean, like, it's just like people are just saying things and they're coming into fruition. Like, they're just saying things and everybody is this happens every year. People say stuff, everybody starts to believe the same things, and reality ends up going much differently. Like, Carroll's at 5, sure, whatever. I wouldn't do it, but whatever. It's, you know, the Rangers going for it, I guess. I don't know. Verhoff to Calgary, sure. I don't know if Seattle will take Dax and Rudolph. I really don't know if that's going to happen, especially if a Schmitz is on the board or a Bjork. Winnipeg, Seattle with a guy like Bjork. I know everybody's looking at them going, oh, they need a defenseman. But my pick would not be Dax and Rudolph. Wyatt Cullen at 9. I mean, sure, Florida could have some fun with that player. I mean, they took a guy like Sam Iskevich, and he's worked out okay. I don't know if I would take Cullen over Bjork, but go off, I guess. Like, I feel like with Bjork, like, I cannot believe people are not Googling that his older brother is 6'2" or 6'3". Like, and Bjork is pretty young. Like, Wyatt Cullen grew a couple of inches this year as one of the youngest guys in the draft. And, like, now all of a sudden he's a top pick. All of a sudden he goes to the U18s and everyone goes, oh, now he's great now. He's a top guy. It's like, okay, number one, welcome to the party. But number two, like, you could just Google Viggo Bjork and be like, oh, his brother is big, or bigger. So what if he grows, right? Like, we're like 4 months away, I would say, from him getting measured again at training camp for Djurgården next year. And everyone going, oh, he's 5'11" now. Oh, do I need to get the hockey puck out? Like, do I need to show you with the hockey puck, like, with the difference between someone who's 5'9" and 5'11"? Like, give me a break. And, like, teams will decide whether he's Braden Point or closer to Marco Rossi or Matt Savoy. Like, I'm sorry. If I could get Marco Rossi at 10th overall, yeah, like, and even Matt Savoy, like, I thought Matt Savoy, he can't be your bottom 6 guy like he's been with Edmonton, but, like, he's not bad. Like, he's not a bad player at all. I don't understand really what the deal is, but whatever. So be it. Gustafsson to the Blues. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I could see it. Belchets to the Devils. That would be entertaining. I don't know if that would be the direction they go, but who knows? Tynan Lawrence to the Islanders. I mean, like, yeah, like, let's just give the New York Islanders Victor Eklund and Tynan Lawrence in back-to-back years, because we don't know what a competitive hockey player looks like, and just hand one to the Islanders again. Imagine that. Oscar Hemming, by the way, can you tell him over it? Can you tell him just, like, over it at this point in the year, and I'm just tired and I just whatever. Hemming, Suvanto, Command, like, yeah, I mean, this is kind of where things really open up for me. I mean, taking all of these guys ahead of Hermansen is a bit of a surprise to me. I mean, Hermansen is frustrating for sure, but I don't know. I just watched Command. I don't know if I see a mid-first round pick there. Hemming, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, like Mammoth taking Morozov. I mean, that's just too easy. I'm very surprised at how bullish people are on Hextall. Like, I really like Jack Hextall, but seeing him go this high would be really surprising. I mean, Vancouver having 2 first-round picks and coming away with Malhotra and Dagenet when one's at 3 and one's at 24. I don't know. I mean, look, again, like, every game I've seen of Dagenet, except maybe one, he's not playing center. Like, he didn't play center at the under-18s. Like, I don't know. Like, whatever. Like, whatever. Okay. Would I want him playing center in the NHL? I mean, if in a certain way, maybe, but I wouldn't do it. Casey Mutrin to Buffalo, sure. I mean, Adam Novotny at 26 seems like wild to me. I don't, like, he has NHL level speed and skill. Okay, get 26th overall. Yeah, give that. I'll take it. Yeah, okay. Right? Like, again, like, one thing I love is reading people's work and going, like, the way you talk about this player makes it seem like they're really good or they're not so good. And, you know, Brogowski to the Rangers, again, like, sure, I could think of that too. I like him more than Dean Letourneau, that's for sure. Liam Ruck to Montreal, like, whatever. I mean, whatever, like, these things are going to happen. It's just, I don't see it the same way. The Blues getting Gustafsson and Blyle in the first round would be very entertaining. I think that would be a very interesting pair to come away with in those slots. Hawkinson to Calgary, yeah, boring, but whatever. Klepov to Carolina, I think you could be a little more creative than that. Like, I don't know, who could Carolina take at 31? I mean, Carolina getting Xavier Villeneuve would be very entertaining. But note that Villeneuve is not in here. I mean, yeah, the Ottawa Senators, if I could pick between Xavier Villeneuve and Juho Piiparainen, give me Piiparainen, I suppose. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. I don't know. This is just how it is. Look, I'll say this. I've watched like 700 hockey games this year. I know where I fall on these things. I know where I come down. I know I'm going to be wrong in some places. I'm sure I'll be right somewhere. But this is going to be a wild year, man. I don't know. I think there are going to be some very interesting lessons learned and things to take away for evaluators alike coming out of this in a few years, looking back on it. Do you like Judd Brackett's hiring? I love it. I think he's a great hire. I think he's one of the best out there. I know people are like nitpicking and being like, well, they didn't pick that many NHL players outside the first round. Like, number one, that's really hard to do, number one. Number two, okay, but like Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, all of the guys that Minnesota then traded for Quinn Hughes that became pretty solid players on a bottom-end Vancouver team this year, with Adam Foote coaching them. Like, I don't know. Nobody is perfect, right? Like, I don't think you can look at any evaluator individually and just be like, this guy, like, you have to nail it every time in order to look smart, right? I really don't think that you can do that at all, and I think it's a little unfair. And I think the point is that, look, like, I've had interactions with Judd Brackett. I think he's really smart. And this is a bit of like, there's a little bit of, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty baked into the job in the first place. And so there's that. But at the same time, like, you need to know people who do their due diligence, right? And like, I also am biased, I will admit. Like, I have a lot of respect for Judd Brackett. Like, he found a way to get in touch with me, like, a while ago. Like, he was curious about me, and that means a lot, right? Like, he picked my brain about stuff, was curious about my work. And so, like, I don't know, I'm sorry, but like, I'm not very conventional, and I can maybe be a little abrasive to people, but like, you should see how scouts talk about players behind the scenes. I'll tell you what, look, like, for someone to reach out and give me their time, like donating it, and also someone who like has insightful things to say about my work that has taught me things, while also like allowing space for like me to have ideas. I have a lot of respect for someone who does that. I have a lot more people in my life, well, not in my life, but I know of a lot more people who have cut me out, walked away, ignored me, whatever, over the years. I get it, right? Like, I'm not for everybody, I suppose, and I do things very differently from a lot of people, whatever. But Judd Brackett, like, I think he's one of the good ones. Like, I think he is a very smart person. I think this is well deserved. I think that there are things that go on that don't get reported on or talked about that change the discussions about these types of things a lot more than you would think. And I think that Brackett's track record is very good by and large. Like, there's a reason that when he left Vancouver, he was snapped up like that in Minnesota. And then he leaves Minnesota the other day, and he's like that, an assistant GM in Toronto, right? Assistant GM of player evaluation. Like, okay, like I think it's a great pickup. I think he's one of the better ones out there to do it. I think he is also very good at being grounded and keeping up with the times, like keeping up with what's out there. Like, I know he's given opportunities to people in the past that, like, back in Vancouver and even in Minnesota, I believe, and like some of them are pretty unconventional, and so, like, credit to him. Like, always a guy where when I see him at the rinks once in a while, shaking my hand, saying hi, just being a guy. And so yeah, look, like, it's good to have him in the NHL, and I think Toronto picked up a good one. We'll see what he does. Do you see Potter as a center or winger in the NHL if things go right? I mean, I would see him as a center, personally. I look at Potter and I go, that's a guy I want playing center. Like, my understanding of a center is that you are the skatey boy up the middle with a ton of skill, puck protection, and good pass vision, and just good ability to transport you are a puck transporter primarily, and you are a supportive defensive player. I think the supportive defensive player part with Potter is maybe a little bit of a work in progress, but I think he has the explosiveness and the skating ability to make it work. And I love guys like him up the middle of the ice. It's why I've wanted Brad Lambert to play center forever. Like, it's something that is at odds with how NHL coaches seem to deploy centers, where it's like they need to be big and just keep it super simple, right? Be the F3, have your defenseman hit you with a pass, get the pass to the wingers, or get it out to the red line and dump it in, right? But that's not how I would play it. That's not my tactical approach to the sport. I don't know. Based on the way I build a team, I see Colin Potter as a guy that I would want up the middle and getting the puck a lot, because he's really good at transporting the puck. He's really good at shooting it. He's a really good player. And I don't think, like, along the boards, like, I don't think he's a winger, right? I think along the boards as a winger, I think he is a guy who does a okay job as an offensive winger, but like the physical play along the boards and the board work and the protection along the boards, like, I don't think that's his jam. Like, you're asking him to do something that I don't think he would do super well. So, like, you'd be kind of creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of him not working in the NHL by playing him on the wing. We'll see, but that's just my view. All I can do is tell you what I would do with him and see what happens. And look, like, if a guy like Tim Stützle can be plopped at center at 18 years old and just run along with him until he gets good, then I don't know why you wouldn't do that with Potter. Does Montreal suck? The city? No. No. I think the team, they should trade everybody and panic and freak out. They're basically the Toronto Maple Leafs now, by getting absolutely humiliated by the Carolina Hurricanes. And that's it. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm kidding. But no, I know the question is asked facetiously, so my response was facetious. Montreal is one of my favorite cities in the world, honestly. Like, it's sick. I love Montreal. It's great. It's really, really fun. I like it a lot. And I mean, I don't know how you don't like the Montreal Canadiens after the experiences that they had at the Bell Center. I mean, holy smokes, what an atmosphere. And it breaks my heart a little bit to see Cole Caulfield up there being like, I wasn't very good and I want to be better. Even if he is maybe a little bit right, still makes me sad. Thought experiment. If Ilya Morozov's season were flipped where his finish was as strong as his start was weak, would the scout community be talking about him top 15 like Suvanto? I mean, I don't know. I personally don't think I would. I watched a few of those early games of Morozov and did not think that the offense was like super repeatable. I mean, I think he's a first round pick. I think he's a good version of a big mobile center who I think has some flashes of good puck possession ability, really good physical tools, really good willingness to throw his weight around. Did so at college on a team that wasn't great. Like, I don't know if he's anything more than a third or a fourth line center, but like, he'd be one that could play on my team and be one of those bruising guys that, you know, could enable others to play quite well. And yeah, like, it's just that there's very little to speak of his offensive game, really. But him and Savanto are in the same tier for me, I believe. And like, they're kind of similar-ish players. Savanto is just like thicker and a little slower, but I think he's a better puck mover and a bit more skilled than a Morozov, actually quite a bit more skilled. So yeah, I think they're relatively comparable, but top 15, I mean, in a draft where people are looking for centers, he could go there, maybe. It's possible. But we'll see. You have Stenberg first, one of us. Yes, exactly. Google gobble, one of us. Do you accept me? Yeah, I finished McKenna's data sample Friday. And as a group, we actually watched my clip library on all the other guys at the top and then McKenna. Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing, because I think it deserves an explanation, because I have been pretty pro like McKenna one, and I still believe that for Toronto specifically, you may as well take the chance on McKenna. He could drop in right away and be a huge asset. At the same time, like with Stenberg, like the thing that stuck out to me watching Stenberg video back that I had was how clever he is. Like, the way he uses his skating edges, the way he reads pressure and opponents, and like, it's almost like, yeah, he's not the fastest guy on the ice, but he is so smart. Like, he just knows how to stay a step ahead always. He doesn't skate into pressure, but he skates into interactions with a game plan. Like, you can tell he's going, if I just put myself in this position, I can fend off the pressure and get myself down low, like all this other stuff. McKenna does not do that. Like, McKenna is just raw skill, pure skill. And it's like, I also, like, the game we watched, finally, the one that ended his sample size, or his sample for me, was a game against Wisconsin. And I cannot point to more than one play or two plays in that game where I went, that's the Gavin McKenna that I've seen. Right? I didn't see it. And I looked back at my data and looked back at my video, and the pattern of him looking really good against bad teams and really pedestrian against good teams, it's pretty clear. It's pretty undeniable to me. And that is a legitimate troubling thing, right? I think that it is perfectly acceptable to look at that and go, yes, it was college hockey and it's a big test for a guy like that, and that's why he's not at 7, you know? I had him as low as 5 at one point this year, right? But I do believe, as I realize I pulled a Toronto Maple Leafs t-shirt off the top of my pile tonight. So take that one for a walk there, Canucks fans on Reddit who have seen me not glaze Caleb Malhotra enough. Anyway, but yeah, I had him as low as 5 at one point this year. I think he's gotten quite a bit better, but there is a frustration to his style of play that could be problematic. Like, he's still throwing pucks up the gap in his own end, still throwing pucks around the blue line and in the offensive zone, and taking on a lot of risk. Just a lot of moments where you're like, oh man, he can make that work, but boy, someone with a bit of speed at the NHL level picking that off and coming the other way is going to not look very good. The uncles in Bowmanville aren't going to like that one. You know, the uncles in Stouffville are going to be throwing beers at their television by December if that keeps happening. And look, I still stand by that with McKenna. Like, it literally will, for me, come down to the interviews. I would be spending a lot of money on good evaluations to get a good lay of where he's at mentally, where his strengths are, where there might be some work to do, a neutral assessment of him, because he's coming to, if he goes to Toronto, he will be in the spotlight. There will be absolutely no way to escape it. He will not be, if things aren't going so well, he will not be able to hide. And I'm not saying that's something you can't handle, but it is something to be aware of. And it is something that you got to be sure that you can guide him through and lead him through. Right? Because just by the way that he plays, I think that the potential for it to become a little out of control is there. And I still also believe that he is, if you come away with the impression that he believes that he doesn't need to develop more, that he is the best guy on the ice and he will make himself known in the NHL that way, and he's playing like this, then maybe there's a bit of problematic stuff there where you're like, well, I don't know. Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff in his game where I'm like, it works, but boy, man, like I don't know. But nevertheless, unbelievably talented player, right? Like, the talent is undeniable. It's there. But for me with Stenberg, it's like, man, he just has such a great read of the game and such a high-end understanding of what to do and how to do it. And it's not as beautiful, it's not as fun, but a lot of evidence shows that it's arguably just as effective. Like, what difference is it if Gavin McKenna is throwing 8 pucks a game from the half wall into the middle of the ice and completing 2 of those passes to Stenberg carefully placing 3 passes a game and they're all tape to tape in the slot, or beautiful sort of, like, the number of times I've seen him do something like take the puck down low, go for what looks like a wraparound and thread the puck through the crease to an open man on the open side of the net for a goal. Like, he's done that 3 or 4 times in just the games I've seen. Maybe 3. And, like, I don't see McKenna doing that. The evidence, and I'll show it in the video in a couple of weeks when it comes out, but it's pretty undeniable that McKenna is very perimeter oriented. His shots, far more often than not, his shots are coming from the perimeter. His playmaking is very much coming from the perimeter and then inside driven. It's very good. But if he thinks he's done developing, then I might have a problem with that, because I don't think, if I'm a coach, I would be pushing him. If I'm coaching him, the kid gloves are off, right? We'll see what happens. McKenna's interviewing with 8 teams. I'd be very surprised if it's only 8. I get the feeling a lot of teams are going to want to sit down with him. Usually top guys sit down with most teams. So either he's just not sitting down with a bunch of teams because he doesn't want to, or I don't know why you wouldn't want to interview him if you're an NHL team. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like over the years, most teams interview those top guys. We'll see what happens. Do you think it would be worth it for the Blues to use 11 or 15 and 29 to move into the top 10? Honestly, no. Like, based on the way things are going, man, like, if you keep those 3 picks, even if you trade one to trade down, you could do some serious damage this year. I really don't think it's that deep of a drop off from like 8 or 9-ish to like 40. I just spat all over my whiteboard. I don't think it's that big of a drop off. I think if you play your cards right, you could end up with some really high end players. And even if you didn't want to aim high and look for some high upside, there are really good players available all over the place. Like there are a lot of guys that aren't even likely to be first round picks that I go, I've really enjoyed watching them play this year. Like Rudolph Burzkowns, I think, is a really interesting guy you could get later on in the outside the first round, and he's a big center. Adam Anderson outside the first round, probably. He's a big skilled center that I think has been really good this year. I think that trading up in this year's draft class is a very risky play unless like a Stenberg is there at like the Rangers pick. Then I would think about it or whatever. But like at 11, like if Tynan Lawrence is there at 11, I'm making that pick so fast. Like if you have 11 and 15, there's a chance that you end up with Bjork and Lawrence. And those are two guys that I have in my top 6. Like I'd be more than happy with that. And I don't think the Blues would be upset. And at 29, Villeneuve in St. Louis, I don't know. You could take your pick of any number of guys and take a huge swing. Blyle there would be fine. There's a whole bunch of them you could take that I think would be really, really good pickups there. So I wouldn't be too quick to jump up into the top 10, especially if guys like Carrolls and Malhotra and Rudolph and all these guys are top 10 picks. I would step back from that maybe and just let's see how the chips fall. That's it. Which NCAA program would you like to see DuPont commit to in your ideal world? Denver. I would think Denver makes a lot of sense. I get why he might want to go to Michigan, and I think that would be fine too. Michigan's fine. It's a great place to play, but I think with David Carl and the way Denver tends to play, I think it's exactly what DuPont needs, and I think I'd love to watch him with that team next year for sure. He'd be so good. I think that's where I would want him to go, but I don't think he's going to go wrong. Oh, my correspondent has come back with a number of, oh dear. She did approve. She did confirm that my son scored. My son Bill. She tried. Okay. So her friend, who's a Penguins fan, tried chanting "Let's go hockey" instead of "Let's go Marlies." She's a Penguins fan. She's saying the Penguins are newting for their lives, ending a Marley power play. She's looking a little haggard. I don't want to play a video live on the air, but she's looking a little haggard. I can't wait to watch that. Draft combine this week. Hell yeah. Teams use the draft simulator. I mean, I know a couple of people have, like, they've reached out to me about it and asked for some thoughts, and some of the nerds have reached out and been like, can I have the data? Can I get my little fingers on the data from the people? I want to polymarket the draft kind of thing. Like, they want to get their little nerd fingers in it, you know? So there's a little bit of that. I've considered charging a $10,000 license for the data that all of you have created and spending it all on a vacation to Japan and rubbing it all in your face, but my better half got the better of me. Pridham Kitchener Rangers thoughts. I mean, the Rangers just were, like, you ever want to see evidence of just a really good team winning games? That's them. Like, that trade where they got O'Reilly and Woolley, like, those two guys were huge for them. The whole team played fantastic hockey pretty much throughout the entire Memorial Cup tournament. I thought after the first period for sure that Everett was going to start having the tide turn their way. It just looked like they had the energy, and nope. Kitchener just came right out and said, nah, nope, we're going to do this. We're going to do this ourselves, and we're going to take you apart. Kirsten Kirsch was excellent when called upon. Sam O'Reilly I thought was really good, but that team kind of won by committee. I thought Tanner Lamb looked really good. They had some great rushes and some great passing work from their defensemen as well. Lots to really like about that group, man. Like, they deserve it. And UC Ahokas has been through a lot. He's coached there for a while, and like the fans in Kitchener are fantastic. I always love going there. Like, absolutely top notch organization. Like, also, like, they have the best food in the media room. Like, I'll say that if you ever find yourself with a CHL pass, go to Kitchener as many times as possible, man. The pulled pork sandwiches, I was there on German Heritage Night, and they had schnitzels in the media room and like pounds of cookies, like Costco cookies and 2-bite brownies, and like just a fully stocked fridge. Just like, oh, it was gorgeous. And so it's like, you know what? Kitchener can do whatever they want, man. Like, top class, top notch. Everything's great. Jack Pridham also had a really good tournament as well. Seeing him get traded for a 3rd round pick, I mean, tidy little bit of business for Chicago. He's going to college, so Tampa gets to hold on to his rights. I'm not sure the story behind all that. Like, if he didn't want to go to Chicago, and I don't know. But nevertheless, yeah, I mean, he's an 05 playing in the OHL, and like, he's been very good there for the last 2 years. Christian Humphreys and him, I think, have looked really good on that team. I think he's played really well. Like, I'll be excited to see him in college. I'm not going to say he's an NHL player today, but I'll be excited to see him in college for sure. He's an interesting one. He's come along quite nicely. I remember watching him when he was 17, and like, he wasn't a bad player at all, and he just seems to keep just chugging along, doing his thing, and good for him. Ask a follow-up question on your Bilecki thoughts if you looked into him again. Yeah, I mean, I saw him at the Memorial Cup a few times. I tracked another game of his. And, like, I don't know. His passing work in the offensive zone is really good, better than a lot of guys I have ranked ahead of him. He's very thin. There's room for physical development, I think. Pretty good skater. But, like, I feel like there's a lot of guys where it's like, it's not like I don't like him, but if he's a 2nd round pick, are there going to be guys in the 2nd round that I definitely want more than him? And the answer to that is probably yes. Like, I thought that his defensive zone coverages were pretty hit or miss. His play on the rush is pretty hit or miss. It's not that bad, but I find that he's one of these guys that like plays a style where he's not quite there yet. And if he gets there, it could be really good. Like, again, like, as a power play guy, I see a lot of potential there. But like, and he's on my list, like, he's ranked, but are there going to be guys that I'd rather have ahead of him? Probably. You know what I mean? But good player. Were or are you an annoying brother? Honestly, I swear to God, I am not lying. She will say this. No, she was the annoying one. I swear, I wish I was kidding. My sister, I love her dearly. Don't get me wrong. She's great. My sister's awesome. She was really, I don't know how to put it, but here's a good way of putting it. There was a day after my 13th birthday, which, if you're not aware, at least in Ontario, is the legal age where children can ride in the front seat of a car. So I, being 13 years old, was like, yay, I get to ride in the front seat of a car. Well, my sister didn't like that. And I distinctly remember this happening at one point. Distinctly remember. She grabbed the seat belt while I was sitting in the front seat and just started, you know, my sister tried to choke me to death in the front seat of a car, pulling on the seatbelt. So that's the type of child that I grew up with. But it's okay. I mean, look, I was also not very nice at times to her. I also distinctly remember a time where I had a friend over, and I'm realizing how morbid it is when I'm thinking about it. But we took one of her stuffed animals from her little pile that she had by the house where I grew up. We had, she and I had bedrooms on the 3rd floor, and there was like a ledge with some windows, and it overlooked a roof that went over to the backyard of the house. And so we took a long piece of rope that, I don't know where we had found it. This was a friend of mine, and I tied it around one of her stuffed animals and threw it out the window and tied the other end to a a chair in her room so that her stuffed animal was hanging from the house, like from the back of the house, like doing one of these in the wind. And she got home from school and did not like that very much. And that was bad. That was a bad time. So I apologize. And, 30 years later, I apologize. But I do distinctly remember doing that for no reason really at all. So maybe that makes me a little annoying. But yeah. Let's see. Shorts chat. What do we got here? Canucks really going to... Okay, so the Canucks are going to ruin their future taking a bottom 6 center 3rd overall. Well, look, I don't think Malhotra is that. I don't think it's like panic mode. And I also just fundamentally do not believe that it's this cut and dry. It's this obvious that he's going there. I don't believe it. I don't know why it's happening. I feel like if Manny Malhotra worked for the Ottawa Senators, nobody would be talking about this. And it's like, okay, so just because his dad works for the team, does that make sense to you? You're drafting a storyline. And you never draft a story, in my opinion. You ignore everything. My dad works for the team. I don't care. My dad is a Hall of Famer. I don't really care. Like, it's a nice thing to have on your resume, but like, okay, that's not you. What does that have to do with you? If he is the 3rd best player in the draft to you, then go ahead. But I do not believe that he is that. I think Malhotra, like, at best, if there are things that really improve, is you're looking at an offensive second line forward, second line center, maybe even a winger that can react under pressure well, do things in the NHL that works, right? Like, here's the thing, right? I really hope I came across in the Malhotra report properly with regards to what he does well. Like, scouts like him for a reason. He can absorb pressure. He can work off of the opposition pretty well. And I think NHL teams see that and go, that will work in the NHL. The rest we can work on. Whatever, like, if his natural instinct is to work off of pressure and absorb opponents and be confident and be physical in those moments, we can work with that. Which, fair enough, that is a valid point that I would agree with regards to his style of play. There are players I have ranked ahead of Malhotra where that is not something that they do very well. So if that is your priority, and that is what you think is a fundamental must-have baseline for a center in the NHL, which I would not necessarily disagree, then fine. I think he has a longer way to go than a 3rd overall pick probably should, right? And I feel like you'll end up with a good player, but like, again, it's like what are you saying no to, right? Like, the Edmonton Oilers took Philip Broberg because they needed defensemen. Cole Caulfield is a Montreal Canadian. Like, it's not who you take all the time, it's who you don't take, right? So I don't know. At the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I don't think it's a moment where Canucks fans should get off on the wrong foot, get in his DMs and scream at him and be upset and pissed off, right? Like, I don't think that's a good response. I don't think it's necessary. I wouldn't do it. I've been wrong before. It's possible. You Canucks fans outlined every single instance where I've been wrong. Every single one of them. It's like, oh, we're not going to listen to this guy because he did this and this and this and this and this and this. It's like, okay, all right, fair enough. I never claimed to be perfect. Nobody should. But at the same time, all I can do is go off of what I see, the data that I've got, the video that I gather. Like, I saw one of the YouTube comments being like, this is a hit piece. This is a hit job. All you did was pick the same clips of him looking bad over and over again. It's like, brother, that's not true. That's not true. I show you what I have. Like, I get both the good and the bad in the games that I watch, and I show you what I've got. I can track the data, I can give you my take, but the reason I show you is for you to make your own judgment, right? So if you have thoughts, then so be it, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know. If you're the Sabres, who would make the most sense to draft? Where are they even drafting? The Sabres are picking at 27? Brother, I don't know. It depends on who the guys that are left are. I mean, like, I saw that Adam Novotny was ranked late in the first round, and like that, I mean, Novotny, I said this on a show before, but like, if you, I think it's a hot take. It's a hot take, and I probably will regret it 5 years down the road, but when he's really cooking, if you want a guy that plays kind of like Alex Tuch, Adam Novotny is your guy, man. That guy, if Alex Tuch is not long for the Buffalo Sabres, Adam Novotny is an interesting idea. And if he's there in the late first, that would be a very good idea. But otherwise, like, you could go any number of directions. Maybe they could add another defenseman, Håkansson or a Piparainen or a Villeneuve even. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's something that could be done there. You'll have some good choices, though. There's a lot of good choices. Who's your top goaltender? I like that you asked like a pirate. Who's your top goaltender? Yeah. I mean that because I enjoyed it, not because I'm trying to make fun of you. Yegor Rybkin is my number one. Tribal's right there with him. Fedorov is right there with him, and Lassell. I would say that Rybkin, Fedorov, Tribal, and Lassell are the four that I really have liked so far. We'll see in 24 hours how I feel. I also like Roberto Henriquez. Shout out David Phillips, friend of the show. Roberto Henriquez was on his radar last year, and he had a really good year this year. But I also like Borichev and Wendt and Sklenichka and Yarmolenko and Bodinger and the French kid Netzcash and after watching the Barrie Colts in the playoffs, I just automatically dropped their goaltenders in here too. Gleb Peshkov. We all love Gleb Peshkov, man. Gleb Peshkov is the Russian Tim Thomas. I'm going to put that out there right now. So if you like that type of a goaltender, look at Gleb. Look at that Gleb. Out of your top 60, who are the top 5 dogs and some honorable mentions? Good question. I mean, Lawrence is one. Lawrence, Björk. In a sense, Suvanto, I would say. Plant. Victor Plant. And who else? Casey Butrin. Something like that. Maybe you could throw Oscar Hemming in there. Adam Valentini, maybe. If he's really cooking, Adam Novotny. Lars Steiner. Lars Steiner is one. Jordan Duguay, I think, is a really hardworking and underrated player in the class. Pardon me, my right eye is quite itchy. Okay. What makes Lawrence more projectable in your opinion? Okay, yeah, great question. With Lawrence, number one, like, Lawrence drives better results now. Like, in a more difficult environment. His offensive transition quarterbacking ability is one of the best in the draft. He is almost an automatic offensive zone entry. As much as you could hope for. And he does it through carries and chips and chases and pass receptions and passing the puck himself. I think he thinks the game quicker than Malhotra. He avoids those physical moments better than Malhotra. I think he is a significantly more explosive off-puck skater, a significantly more engaged defensive player. I think Malhotra is caught flat-footed a lot compared to a Lawrence, which I don't even know if that's happened before. I just look at Lawrence, and again, like, I think what a lot of people don't understand about me is, like, they think skill, small, skill, and that's just not true. The guys I value the absolute most generally are the ones where I go, if I'm a coach and I slap them on the back and they go over the boards, I go, I know exactly what that guy's going to give me, and I like pretty much everything about that guy. I might have some qualms, I might have some wishes on the wish list, but I don't think I'm going to lose by playing this player on the ice a lot. And I see with Lawrence so many of those ingredients. And with Malhotra, they are there. They are there too, but not nearly at the same level. Like, I think Malhotra has more high-end playmaking moments than Lawrence does, but Lawrence is not a coward. Not that Malhotra is. I want to be clear. He is not. I don't think he is at all. But like, Lawrence is fearless. He will go into the dirty areas. He will grind. He will battle. He will just rocket the puck back up the ice from his own end. He is like, you watch him play and you're just like, this guy will never, like, again, like, go back to the Holinka tournament. Like, I can't believe we're doing this, but like, you go back to the Holinka tournament and people watching that game against the US, like, the only reason the US really won that game was because it was Brady Noling versus Tynan Lawrence, and Brady Noling won. But Tynan Lawrence was moving heaven and earth to try to win that game, winning every puck battle, attacking the net, doing everything himself. And I would bet that if the Brantford Bulldogs had a line of Adam Banach, Cooper Dennis, and Tynan Lawrence, he would have had 120 points in the OHL this year. He was on pace for a 40-goal season in the USHL this year, right? Like, I don't know. When I look at Lawrence, I just see a better hockey player, and one where, like, and when we interviewed him, he came off the exact same way. Like, we asked him about like what he kind of saw himself as, and he's like, I'm a team player. Everyone else on the ice, they need to be better because of me. That's my job. Like, all I do on the ice is just focus on doing everything I can to make the team better and everyone else around me better. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Like, sometimes you don't get rewarded for that type of work, right? And like, I also genuinely believe that we need to look at high-end NCAA teams like we do European professional teams now. Like, if Viggo Björk came to Boston University this year and had 10 points in 20 games, I wouldn't say that's a bad season. It's really hard. The NCAA is really good. It's really good now. So, yeah. I don't know. I just see them as sort of cut from the same cloth, but I like what Lawrence brings to the table as he is right now. And also, keep in mind, he doesn't turn 18 until like I don't even know when. August, I think? July, August, something like that. Like, what's he gonna, like, under normal circumstances, he would have been in the USHL all year, maybe scores 40 goals, maybe scores 90 points. The USHL's pretty good too. And then he's a freshman next year, but instead he's going with a half a year of experience. You know what I mean? Am I going to move Noling over Lawrence? Yeah, exactly. Noling number 2 overall. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah. Salive was one of many draft eligibles compared to Hedman. You don't see a whole lot of people on Reddit complaining about bad takes like that now, do you? You know? I would never have said something as asinine as that, but I'm sure those who did are definitely the ones people aren't paying attention to anymore. I saw a stupid trade on X for Nyes around Simashev plus for Nyes. Would you do it from the Leafs, or are you not trading Nyes? Well, it depends what the plus is, but I would think about it. I think Simashev is one of the best defensive players not in the NHL. I don't know. I mean, a great right-hand shot, or a great top 4 defenseman with great defensive tools like that. Nyes is great. It would take a lot. You'd have to make it a no-brainer for me. But Simashev is very good. Simashev is very, very good. I enjoyed your Jack Hextall video. However, I found your ranking and description of the players incongruous. Why is he 10 ranks below Malhotra, for example? That's a very good question. I don't think he has the physical tools Malhotra does. The key differentiator is that Malhotra's play under pressure, I think, is better. Hextall's off-puck offensive game, I think, as a forechecker is better, but I don't know if he is as reliable and repeatable. Like, Hextall relies on sort of off puck positioning for scoring chances a lot, whereas Malhotra like attacks the net a lot more than Hextall does right now. Like, I wished that Hextall would play a little more like Malhotra. But I do feel like they're close on my list. Like, I think there are a lot more people who have them 20, 30, 40 spots apart, when in reality, they're not that much different. You know what I mean? And so for me, like, I don't think I would take Hextall ahead of Malhotra, but I don't think the downgrade is that big. Yeah, like they're apart a little bit, but I think Malhotra's physical tools gives him an advantage. And I just kind of am hoping that there's steps taken in his game. But I think it is very, very, very different, to like where I have them compared to like where the more normal folks have them at, like, you know, Hextall's a fringe first at best, and Malhotra's like a top 10 guy. Like, I just go, well, if that's the case, I don't, that seems incongruous to me. But look, don't get me wrong. I love Jack Hextall, and, it's close though. Like, this year is really, really close. And with Malhotra, it's just there are more projectable tools there. Whereas Hextall, it's like I'm hoping that those come with time. They're not there, but I don't know. It's maybe I'm just talking myself into saying they're two sides of the same coin. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like at this point in the year, even if I'm not necessarily on the right track on paper, like Malhotra's gone top 10 or something. So Hextall will be there. So there you go. You know, that's it. Who'll be the last minute rocket on the board like McTavish, Seneca, or Nemec? I mean, it depends on what you mean by that. I mean, I could see a guy. It seems like I could see a guy like, I don't know, like Wyatt Cullen. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone take Cullen pretty quick, but generally you see wingers, or like you see centers and defensemen. The ones like Seneca was a winger, and that's a little unconventional. Yeah, McTavish was a center. I mean, like generally like. I don't think it'll be so much a case of who like rockets up, but who will drop down. Like I could see someone taking Oliver Suvanto pretty high. I'm trying to think of the guy. Like I could see like even a Breck Liskey. Like he was just in the Memorial Cup. I thought he looked pretty good playing off of Landon DuPont. I mean, he's ranked in my top 40, but if he were to work his way into the first round as a defenseman that can play on the right side, like, yeah, he might be one that shoots up in the next few weeks. It's hard to say. But I'll be very curious to see who it might be if there is one this year. I'll be very curious. I mean, Maddox Dagenet maybe. It might be guys who just interview really, really well. You know what I mean? Get the hockey puck, do a puppet show. Here, just do the rest of the show with this on my freshly washed hair. Right? No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Don't worry. On a different subject, go watch Caulfield and Marty almost fall down drunk on the stairs at the Luke Combs concert. I think I'm okay. We got a chat question on the shorts video here. As someone with a career in hockey, well, career is used loosely, but I'll take it. How often do you... my career actually took a much better turn the other day being a pager duty stockholder. That was an unexpected one. How often do you think about CTE? I love hockey and I coach, but CTE makes me question my dedication. It's really tough. Like, I think about it a lot, right? I look, for anyone who doesn't know, I have a science degree in kinesiology. So like I got it when it was like still pretty early, like a lot of the research into impact sports on the brain and everything. Like the research was still kind of coming out when I was in university. And so we were reading it a little bit. And like, I'll tell you this, right? I think a couple of things have to be true at the same time. Number one, like, it is a huge problem. It's a huge problem that not only affects the person, but it clearly affects the people around them, right? Like the trends towards things like violence and irrationality and unstable emotions, like that's undeniable at this point. And like that's problematic. That you can't have that. And the problem with brains is like once they're damaged, they do not repair super well or super easily. I will say that like since I was in college, the growth in things like concussion treatment has come a long way, like a long way. And a lot of that is from things like hockey and football and being a little bit more cognizant of those things. So obviously it is something where if I am a manager of a team, it's extremely important. It's extremely important to me. If I were a general manager, I would make it extremely important because like I want my guys healthy, right? Like I would rather have my guys rest and be healthy and feel good playing than like struggle and have someone who may very well be ready to go and them sitting in the press box going like, man, I wish I were playing and I would have given it 120% when you've got a guy out there with a blown out knee not playing like themselves. I saw today that Nick Suzuki had like a torn muscle in his leg. Like, I'm sorry, but either he was jacked up on cortisol or like you really didn't believe that you could have a guy to potentially plop in somewhere in the lineup and remix things around and have like, I don't know. I mean, Nick Suzuki still played quite well, I thought, but we're talking about CTE. The point is like concussions are very, very serious. Like you can, if you want to play on a busted knee, if you want to play on a busted wrist, whatever, right? Like those things you can have physio, you can heal them, you can have surgery, whatever. Brain stuff, I would pretty much draw a line in the sand of like, we're not messing around with that. It's your brain. Like you need, like you, it's nice to have the use of both your hands in your day-to-day life, but you don't have to have them. You can live a relatively normal life if one hand is all messed up from hockey injuries. If your brain is messed up, your life is way harder. But the flip side, is that, like, at some level, there is personal autonomy to these things. Like, I would say that if I were the NHL, I would say for the benefit of teammates and staff members and the organizations as a whole from a liability standpoint, the CBA is either going to have a clause in it that says a player who is concussed and the team advises them not to play refuses to accept that and plays and plays anyway. It's not anyone's fault but theirs. Like the liability, not our problem. Don't come calling us when you're 45 years old looking for medical care or whatever. Like, I'm sorry, but you waived that opportunity when we tried to get care for you when you were injured. Like, that's if you want to play it that way, I would do it that way. Because otherwise you're opening yourself up to liability out the wazoo when they're 40, 50, 60 years old and having medical problems. So otherwise, you have to get the NHLPA to agree brain injuries are a line in the sand. If our medical staff thinks that you are concussed, we're done. You're shut down until you're approved. No questions asked. In the playoffs, if you're concussed, no. Like, no. And then you at least have the black and white understanding of like what the game plan is there. Because I don't think you can have this middle ground anymore. Like you can't control a player's ability to say, I'm fine, coach, I can play. There's no way for you to be able to do that and know for a fact if they're good or not. So in that case, you shouldn't be liable. You shouldn't have any sort of guilt if they are actually injured and are actually not feeling well or play, you know. It's like, well, what do you want me to do, man? You're an adult, right? They're adults. These guys are adults. So either you listen to medical advice and you listen to the medical staffs and you do what they need you to do. I think it is irresponsible for management people to like give them the old, you're fine, we'll keep playing you thing. But I don't think that happens as much as it used to. I think I'm fine, I'll keep playing coach is a lot more common. And either that's something that the players accept the risk for, which I would bet a lot of them do, and the league is fine on that note, or the league steps in and is like, we're protecting you because these injuries can affect not only you, but everyone around you and be a legal problem for us. We don't want that. You don't want that. The people around you don't want that. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I don't think it should question your dedication or anything. And I do think that there is room for improvement, like technologically speaking as well, to like help and physiologically speaking and like medically speaking. Like, it's still pretty early days for studying brain injuries and treating them and managing them. And I don't know. I don't know. I as a coach, if it were me, if a kid on my team got his bell rung, I would take him to the doc, and I would have to have a doctor there where I'm like, look, you got to tell it to me straight. I don't want you to be this like he can play guy. If he's concussed, you tell me, or else I'll find a doctor to tell me if a player's concussed or not, and they should or should not play. And then that'll be it. I will trust the doctors. I didn't go to medical school. I know a little bit about it. I know how the body works. I don't know anything specifics there. You're the expert. The player is not the expert, right? And one of the worst things that can happen to your body, period, generally speaking, outside of like being chopped up into a billion pieces, is having your bell rung and then having your bell rung again, like right after. Like that is significantly worse. Like bad news, right? And that's tough to fix. So I don't know. You've definitely answered this before, but who's the best shutdown defenseman in the draft? Probably Gustafsson, honestly. Gustafsson, or maybe Carroll's if things go well. But he's not there yet. Gollier has his moments. Piiparainen, Liski, something like that. But Gustafsson's the easy one. I remember you saying you changed your view of how you evaluate players quite a bit over the years, especially the value of defense. You mentioned Caden Gooley for that. Where would Caden Gooley rank this year? Ooh, that's a good question. Probably, probably like 13, like between Cullen and Hermansen. I would take Gooley over Hermansen and maybe over Cullen. But like Novotny, Reed, Gustafsson, Verhoff, that's where it gets a little tough. But definitely in the 10 to 15 range, I would say. Did you see the McKenna special at all? One thing that caught my ear was McKenna's dad talking about getting drafted at 1, coming with more money than 2, 3, or 4. He knows this is the NFL. I mean, I think what he might be, I didn't see it. I haven't seen it yet. I should. But I think the thing that he's getting at there is more about, like, if you are the first overall pick, it sounds a lot better and looks a lot better on a billboard than the 2nd or 3rd or 4th. You know what I mean? Like, I think what he's saying is, like, being the first overall pick, it means you're much more marketable than the 2nd or 3rd or 4th guy. Maybe you get the same bonuses as the 2nd guy. But maybe that's his point. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Craig Button compared Stenberg to Demidov. Do you see anything like that? No. Not even, no. No. Just no. The answer to that for me is just no. Canucks fans are getting a ton of Malhotra promo in the market, so they're having a tough time getting a different perspective. It's a major issue. Well, I mean, look, it's fine. People are entitled to their own opinion. I've also, like, you know, Reddit is Reddit. You know, Reddit is very good at thinking they want a thing, and then when they get presented a thing, they hate that thing. Do you know what I mean? like like the groupthink on Reddit. I mean, the way that the platform works, it's kind of forced into groupthink, but you know, I find Reddit very entertaining. I spend a lot of time there. I lurk all the time. I have my own account. I have a lot of fun on Reddit. It's good. It's a great website. I'm a shareholder in Reddit. I love it. I think it's great. But it does attract a certain type of psychological profile that is not really good at seemingly thinking for themselves sometimes. Or thinking outside the box, thinking of different perspectives. There's a lot of like confirmation bias of like, oh, well, this means this and this, anyway, whatever. It is what it is, that's fine. Do you think first overall in this draft is a bit of a poison pill? I mean, I would think about what is out there of what teams would be willing to move for it. I'd be picking up the phone, be like, you want this Gavin McKenna guy? Let's see. Not saying I would do it, but be curious. Did you see the no, we're gonna check out McKenna's documentary later. In the McKenna special, a Blackhawks scout visits his house after the NCAA season. How is that legal when they have strict interview quotas at the combine, or is that purely a combine rule? I think that's just at the combine. I mean, scouts talk to guys all year. Like, it happens all the time. They're going to games. They're talking to coaches. They're talking to players. Like, it's not uncommon. It's the testing. It's the off-ice testing that the NHL nailed Chayka for. That's different. I'll show you around Tokyo with the data money if you like. Ooh, good. I'll hold you to that. Maybe I should pull this scam. I guess I shouldn't have called it a scam on camera. Although what the SEC seems to be like totally fine with scams. Although the Canadian, the CRA might not like that all that much, and the Canadian, the police, the RCMP might not like that. I'll think about it. I'll sleep on it. I'll let you know what I feel like in the morning. Maybe I'll just go to Japan anyway. Who knows? Did they have to start cutting you off? I think that's about Kitchener. No, unfortunately. I was really good at sneaking in and sneaking out. Nobody noticed me. Nobody paid that much attention to me. Thankfully. I don't like when people pay attention to me. He says as he's on a YouTube live show. Would you rather have Isaac Howard or Sam O'Reilly? I mean, I thought about this. I think Howard's a good player. I think Sam O'Reilly is more likely an NHL player today. But Howard is a higher ceiling guy. Like, Howard plays a game where if it works, it'll work a lot better than Sam O'Reilly. But Sam O'Reilly plays a game where it's like, it should be fine. And Howard doesn't really have... Like, on my team, could Howard maybe be a third liner? Yeah, sure. Could Sam O'Reilly be a third or fourth line center? Sure. Same, but different, right? I don't know. Has DuPont made you consider analyzing beard growth ability before 18? Call it the Colby Barlow metric? That's a very good question. No. Although it does make me jealous, I must say, that a kid born in 2009 grows beards significantly better than a man born in 1990. This is like 4 days of growth, folks. Like, get your soy boy, beta, cuck, male insults out now. This is just the way it is. No, I mean, look, the beard thing, we'll see what happens. If DuPont were like a 220-pound chonk and looked like a 48-year-old man, then maybe we have something to talk about. But I don't know. We're not quite there yet. We'll see what happens in a year. I heard Pridham was ready to re-enter the draft rather than sign with Chicago. Whoa. Is Barlow better than Lambert and or Potter? No. Not a huge fan of Floris. I like his upside. I think he could be a thing. I think he's just a long way away. Like, I think he's a project guy. Like, his defensive game when I saw him a few times this year was very bad. But he's long. Yeah. We by the way, we're trying to get Polymarket or Kalshi to put a Will Scouch say long on the show, and all of our Discord supporters hammer the yes every show because I try to sneak one in every time and see how long we can run that scam. So just so you know, for anyone watching, if you see that pop up on Polymarket, always bet the yes. Trust me. Yeah. Do you think Schmitz would excel in Vancouver? Yeah, I would do it. You got Booyam already there, but like, I'll take him. I would do it. I love him. I think he would be a lot of fun. Good player. Good player. The way I had a conversation with a buddy of Stenberg versus McKenna is that about an 80-point winger who might never have an off game versus a winger who might get 100 points, but you pull your hair out. Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of the deal. And like, I always have gone to Stenberg and gone like a Seth Jarvis type guy. He kind of reminds me of Seth Jarvis. And I love Seth Jarvis. I think he's a great player. You know, McKenna's very, very good. The reason I'm a lot more comfortable with him going to Toronto, if you think he can deal with it, is like he's a perfect fit for guys like Nyes and Matthews and Tavares, and like it just you plop him in and he is exactly kind of the player that would really work with that group. Stenberg would work fine too. He works with anybody, you know. But if like McKenna going to San Jose, for example, doesn't make as much sense because they've already got guys like Will Smith, like Macklin Celebrini, like William Eklund even. Like it's not like they have someone with that pure skill level, but they have players that play skill forward and skill heavy. And Toronto doesn't have a ton of that anymore. So it kind of makes sense. So it's like, yeah, like it's a tough scenario, honestly. Like I don't know which way I would go because I don't have access to the same resources that Toronto does. So if they pick McKenna, then great. Then good for them. I still believe, even though McKenna's not number one on my list, with team scouting first overall pick, actually now that I think about it, I have a lot of guys kind of like McKenna in there. It's fun when I come to the realization of things live on camera. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, we'll see. But anyway, the Wild should trade to get Malhotra and play him with Banach. Exactly. There we go. Why is Bill so low on JP Hurlburt? Well, yeah, I think Hurlburt is very skilled. I think he'll be a very good college player. But I mean, the data that I tracked on him at 5-on-5 is very mid across the board. And I value that a lot. I think he got better as the year went on in terms of like the skating. The scoring didn't hold up the same way it did at the beginning of the year. But the way he was generating his offense looked more and more interesting. He looked better under pressure, but he was skating into a lot himself, a lot of 1-on-2s, 1-on-3s. He skated into a lot of board area where stuff that he just wasn't going to win. Like, I just feel like he's just very junior/college hockey coded, and I don't know, like, I don't see him as a bottom 6 NHL floor guy. And at that point in the draft, that automatically will knock you down. It's why I have guys like Klepov and Aram Olsen and even Command and Nordmark down in that sort of early second range. Because, like, they kind of become, like, bets on skill and maybe they really grow. But then I just look at other guys and I go, yeah, but I have other guys on my list that I just feel like if the writing's on the wall, if I'm in the Stanley Cup playoffs, who do I want on the ice? And Hurlburt's a good player, and maybe I would live to regret the take, but I don't know. I've watched a lot of the Canadian Hockey League this year, and I just don't think it's the steps up to the NHL has gotten even wider, and I just don't know. I just don't know if I buy it. Did you see number 1 in Chase Reed or just a number 3-4 guy with PP1 potential? I think he's a good second pair guy with excellent skating ability. That's all I can really say. I think he's really good. But I think he's got some interesting tools. He's got some interesting, like, traits in his game offensively. But I wonder about his defensive game. His feet are a little inactive defensively. He's a little absent on defensive cycles. But still a good player. Like, I think he could be very valuable. Like, I look at a Sam Dickinson and go, that guy skates a little bit better, but they're sort of similar. They're kind of wired in a similar way, right? Yeah, and I wasn't the biggest guy on Dickinson. And I definitely wouldn't have drafted Dickinson like top 5 or something like that in retrospect. Malhotra was not at the Holinka tournament, by the way, if you're still wondering. Year after year, we project draft eligibles as second line centers, and I'm trying to think of any actual second line centers drafted to be 2s who are with the team that drafted them, and I can't think of one besides Lundell. Well, Marat Huznadinov. No, I think he's been playing wing for Boston quite a bit. I mean, being a center in the NHL is really, really hard. And it can take a while. But yeah, I mean, look, that's why they get drafted really high, though. Teams go, well, maybe this is the one. I don't know. I don't really think about it that way. Oh my God, my correspondent is blowing up my phone. Asking if I've got a cold. Maybe. Marlies have 51 seconds to score a friggin' goal, bad. Marlies have 11 seconds to score 2 goals. Uh-oh. Okay, so that game's pretty much over. Do I have a cold, though? I mean, if you're watching the show still, my dear sister, I am... I've been talking a lot today, so the voice is a little tired. 11 is good value for Dickinson. Yeah, I gave your channel a lot of credit for your read value. Every major outlet and scout having him at number 2 seems insane. I mean, yeah, it is aggressive. I think it's aggressive. But like Reed is a top 10 guy to me. If you wanted him ahead of Gustafsson or Verhoff or even a Villeneuve or Preston, like I get why. I mean, I'm very optimistic about Preston and Villeneuve. I'm admittedly very optimistic about those two. But I mean, Verhoff and Gustafsson, they're just different types of players that I think all could end up in a similar role, like on your depth chart, so to speak. They just do well at different things. I wonder who will compare Novotny to. Alex Tuck, is that it? I mean, Tuck is really good. Tuck is a good hockey player. Ask any fantasy hockey owner. I'm one of them. So what if Lawrence can drive better? This is an F1. Fair enough. That's true. That's a good point. Who were you absolutely wrong about? Well, I mean, I think you can safely go back to 2020. I mean, one definitely is Cutter Gauthier. That's one where I undervalued him, but he also I still stand by the analysis from 2020, whatever it was when he was drafted. He's just come so far since he was a draft eligible. Absolutely has come so far. I should have been stronger to my gut on Lafreniere for sure. I did not really enjoy watching him all that much in his draft year. I enjoyed watching Byfield and especially Rossi, Raymond, and Stützle all more than him. I was a little low on Sanderson, lower than most, but that one I've also learned. But also that range for that draft was close. Askarov, Amarov, I still feel like Amarov would have been a hell of a player, but like, yeah, Sanderson probably should have been up in the higher ranges for me. Where did I have him? Where did I have him? Oh no, there he is. Yeah. 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 That one's a bit of a whiff. I mean, I really love Fabian Lysell still. I feel like he also just is kind of in his own way a little bit. I mean, I get a lot of it is like I look back and I see like Alexander Holtz at 8, and I should have leaned into the problems that were there that the data showed. Like his volumes from low danger were like Alexander Holtz is the Cutter Gauthier that doesn't work out, and Cutter Gauthier is kind of the Alexander Holtz that does work out. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of weird. And in terms of like players, I look back and I go, wow, I got the read on that player completely wrong. Like, I don't know. Like, and I'm trying to think as honestly as I can back to the time. Like, yeah, once that draft class, I feel like in 2020, my top 20, I still feel pretty good about it. Beyond that point, it's kind of just random guys. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff where I'm like, how did I not see that happening? I did like Brett Berard more than a lot of people. Yeah, like I think a lot of what I had was forgivable. I still think that Ronnie Hirvonen is a really good player. I really thought that if he were just 2 inches taller, I feel like Brad Treliving would have been like, that's a guy that I can keep. But, like towards the end of my first round that year, I had like Gushchin, who I really like, and Paterka, who I had 23 or something. Yeah, 23. I mean, yeah, like it is what it is, You can't be right all the time. Watch a lot of hockey, and you can't be right all the time. Are you going to move Nolan above Lawrence? Not today. It's interesting how the top 2 cup finalists are both extremely well run, but are opposites of each other. Canes to keep picks and trade down. Vegas tends to trade every pick they have. Yeah, I mean, people who think there's a formula to build an NHL Stanley Cup champion are in shambles these days, because you're right. Completely different. Completely different. What'd you think of Carter Bear's playoffs and Memorial Cup? Really good. I've loved Carter Bear all year. He's taken a good step this year. He's looking quicker, more engaged, more active on every on every shift that I remember this year from last year. Like, it was always there, but you just wanted a little more out of him, a little more speed, a little more physicality, a little bit quicker into physical altercations. And he seems to be doing that. I thought he looked really, really good. The Everett did not lose because of Carter Bear last night at all. I will say that. Now the Memorial Cup is over. Are you ready to call it rigged? It is rigged. I rigged it. I did it myself. Finance man's here. What's going on? What are the chances you'd give to Colin catching Stenberg in a year? I mean, he could learn a thing or two from Stenberg, but I think talent-wise he could catch up. I don't think he's there today. But it's possible. It's just he's got a ways to go, like hockey IQ-wise and hockey sense-wise. But like the flash and razzle-dazzle. I mean, I think the better discussion is what chances would I give to Cullen catching McKenna? Like, I don't think they're the same level, but they are a year apart. And so, like, Cullen going to college next year, if that's where he's headed, like, with the skill level he's got and the shooting ability, like, he gets better shooting opportunities. He is a very skilled player, and he's very creative as well. And so is McKenna. Like, it's not I don't think it's a large chance, but that's a thought experiment I've had where it's like, you know what? Like, with the style of play that Cullen has and the frustrations that he has, like, if you just kind of make some tweaks here and there and captures X, Y, and Z a little bit more, might be an interesting discussion to be had. But, I mean, I still think it's a long shot. Seriously, is the Memorial Cup kind of a showcase on all the issues the CHL has when it comes to talent disparity? Well, I mean, this year's I thought was pretty good all in all. I thought Chicoutimi played really well. Everett is a fantastic team. Kitchener is just a great team. That got great performances. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the Memorial Cup this year was quite good. It's like, I don't know. I tracked a game today that was... It was a Pearson Bowie game where they lost 12-0 to the Flint Firebirds in a playoff game. And, like, I'm sorry, but if that's the case, then you need to make the playoffs 8 teams, not 16. Like, start with 8, right? Like, like Owen Sound had no business playing the Flint Firebirds if you're going to lose 12-0 in the middle of a playoff series. Like, it's crazy. I just say, like, that's all the evidence you need. You have a playoff game. Like, imagine a Stanley Cup playoff game in the first round ended 12-0, and the whole series was like 4 games, 24 goals to 4 or whatever it was. It's like, well, then, like, why'd you even bother? Like, what? Like, also, I also feel like it's just not a good environment for the kids. Like you're just leading them to the slaughter for a 4-game series where they're just getting killed. Like, it's like, I don't know. I feel bad if I were, like, I just feel bad. I'd be like, I'm sorry you went through that. Like, it's just not a good environment. Like, I don't know. We talked about this in the Discord server quite a bit, but, like, my thought is it's not going to change unless money flows elsewhere and necessity and draw brings players into a better environment. Like, to me, private schools in Toronto, I could see in a decade Toronto private schools being a pretty good draw for some good players out there. Like Fenwick McLean was a second round QMJHL pick and chose to play for the UCC team this year. Like, I think that's a harbinger of some things that might be coming. And I know that there are a bunch of Toronto private schools that are building new rinks. They're spending some money. UCC is one of them. St. Andrews. I know De La Salle is building a brand new rink. I don't think you build a brand new rink at a private high school going, we're not going to spend money to make it make sense for people to go, right? And if there's like if there's a league of 8 private high schools in the Toronto area, not only is it really good marketing for those private schools, they'll make money, but also it would be a better league. Like 8 teams in the Toronto area, the travel costs are lower. They have boarding at a lot of these schools, so students can stay at the school. They don't have to find billet parents. They can live with other students. It's probably a better environment for them developmentally. They get good educations. Like, if I'm a parent, that sounds awfully good to me. You pay for a free ride. I'll send my kid to UCC and play hockey if that's a good play. Like, they'll play St. Andrews, maybe Shattuck. Like, these are the ways that I think things could change for the better. But because the alternatives are like, what? Fold a third of the CHL? Like, no one's going to do that. And I wouldn't want to do that. Why? Who am I to do that? Right? Like, I wouldn't want that. Those communities deserve hockey teams. But in terms of like where things might be going to attract and develop really good talent, and I mean, look, get Canada honestly back on a track that brings them some success internationally, because they didn't have much of it this year. Like, maybe there's more of a draw there. McLean's going to the Q next year. Right. I'm not saying that like he should, but like, where else would he go? My point is like long term, like it's unusual for a player to go, I'm not, even for especially a top 2 round pick, to go, I'm not going to jump straight to major junior. I'm going to move to Toronto and play private high school at Upper Canada College. Like, Upper Canada, the hockey there is good, but like it does not hold a candle to the Q. So like a player choosing to go there that is a relatively high pick, even if they're only 16, makes an impact. And like, I'm talking 10 years down the road. I'm just saying it's a sign of things, right? Like, if these teams do see some snowball effect, they get maybe some donations, they build out their resources, they bring in some good coaches, they, you know, like, you can see how these things might go. Like, trust me, I know these schools have money. They got money, man. Like, if they wanted to, if they put their minds to it, they could. St. Andrews is already doing it. They got guys in the NHL now. They were just 20 years ahead of the curve when they did this a decade ago or whatever, if it does happen over the next 10 years. So, yeah, I mean, like, if you're 17 years old, like, yeah, if you're going into the NHL draft, you probably want to be in major junior. Not a whole lot of scouts are going to think too much of you if you're playing for Upper Canada College's U18 team. Like, you're going to, you know, Dean Letourneau can get away with it, but he's humongous, and so he gets a bit of leeway. If you're just some guy, like, no one's going to care. But, yeah, like, I think it's entirely a possibility. The biggest riser is the easiest answer. Bjork to the top 5 if the Canes win the Stanley Cup. Maybe. How Villeneuve would have rocketed to the top 10 if Habs won. I mean, you would think, but never underestimate the NHL, my friend. Never underestimate the ability to hand wave things away that aren't convenient. Look, yeah, no, yeah. Look, Cole Caulfield. People are looking at Cole Caulfield. He was bad in the playoffs. Therefore, that's why you don't draft a guy. Even if he scores 50 goals for you, that's why you don't draft him. Okay. What's the difference between Lafreniere draft year and McKenna draft year? McKenna is showcasing significantly more skill, significantly better playmaking results, significantly better transition driving. But there are some issues. Similarly frustrating, but less frustrating, if that makes sense. But, I mean, yeah, like, it's... Lafreniere also just went to just about the worst place in New York. It just was not... I still remain pretty steadfast. If Lafreniere ended up in LA and Byfield ended up in New York, both of those players would be stars. I think it's entirely possible. You don't think Vancouver wants their own Stankoven after overlooking the hometown boy multiple times? Who knows? look, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't know. Difference between Rossi's draft year and Stenberg's draft year. Rossi was, first of all, a center and just an absolute animal. Like high pace, high energy, both sides of the puck, every single shift, and just pure energy. If anything, Rossi is very Tynan Lawrence like. Lawrence is just a little bigger. But yeah, like different players, I would say. Did you ever do a video on Dalibor Dvorsky, and do you see him as a top 6 center in the NHL? I never saw him as a top 6 center in the NHL. Look, people were yelling and screaming at me about Dvorsky forever. I had him as like a fringe first round pick. I always felt that the skating and the pace of his game was way too slow and way too low to play center in my world, at least in my top 6 if I were an NHLer or an NHL team. I don't see it. I don't know. I mean, Dvorsky always had the, like, to me, he's kind of similar to like a Suvanto in a way. But I think Suvanto moves the puck a lot smarter than Dvorsky did. He takes the shot opportunities a lot better than Dvorsky did. But Dvorsky can shoot the puck. He can hammer it. Like, my whole thing with him was like, yeah, he's slow and not the most effective player, but then you give him the puck in the offensive zone and it's bing, bang, boom, off his stick and it's in the back of the net. But like, that's why I don't really value guys that do that super well. I don't have a video on it, but like, you can go look at my, actually, I don't know if you can. But my thoughts on him are very well documented. Where did I have him ranked, actually? It was 2023? Yeah, 2023. I had Dvorsky. Where is he? Yeah, I had Dvorsky at 36 outside the first round. Yeah. Like Zach Benson or Oliver Moore would have been my pick there. No question. Isn't the bonus money you can get as the number 1 pick higher than other picks? I don't think so. Unless that's changed, but I don't think so. I've seen McKenna Kucherov comparison and Stenberg Jarvis comparison, and it does interest me because back then you would never see Canadian prospects being compared to Euros. That's fair enough. Yeah, it's fair enough. If you have mixed ancestry with Mediterraneans and Arabs, you have better genes for beard growth. Yeah, I mean, I have just I'm as white as it gets, man. Canadian as it gets. Back to my ancestors came over on the boats, man. That's how white I am. That's the only other family I know of that are not Canadian are from New York State. So that's what I'm dealing with. And my dad can grow a beard. My dad can grow a pretty good beard, but I guess I have my mom's genes on that, my mom's family. None of them are, I mean, most of them are women to start with, but none of them are beard growers. My cousin, who is no longer with us when he was alive, was not a beard grower. I mean, he died when he was like 22, but like he was not a beard grower. So yeah. What's your reasoning for avoiding power play and data tracking? It's still a part of the game. Because I don't care. Like, you have an extra man on the ice. I see the power play as like, I can extrapolate a player's ability to play on the power play based on how they play at 5-on-5. Like, I think 5-on-5 is it's way less systems oriented than special teams. Like, a good power play coach is choosing the personnel to play on the power play. Why? Probably because of the things they do at even strength a lot of the time. Like, what am I going to learn from watching Liam Ruck hammer 20 shots on the power play? I get it. He can shoot the puck. Cool. How many players out there, like, you don't see very many players in the NHL have long-term success being power play guys first. Sometimes, but they're not very valuable. You get the guys that are great at 5-on-5 who then can play special teams, penalty kill, power play, whatever. Like, most of the game is played at 5-on-5. Most of the game. And I think it's very easy to identify players where I go, I can think of roles that this player could play on a power play, and I would try it. And power play coaches can come and go, and personnel may not even matter all that much at the end of the day. I just think it is a very easy way to get carried. Like, the number of times I see people posting hype clips of guys, and it's like, okay, great, they shot a puck on the power play, or they had a 5-on-3 and made a pass. Holy shit. Oh my God. You know, I just don't, I go, okay, great, but like, maybe you see more of what the player might be capable of, but I don't want to see, especially at the junior level, I don't want to see a player at that level in an environment where it's even easier for them. It's like, well, let's take a guy off the ice and give you a man advantage and see what happens. It's like, well, obviously they should be great. And like, the data would just get completely out of whack pretty much immediately because of how things change on the power play and on the penalty kill. Like, it just, I just go, I work from 5-on-5 out. I go, I don't care about the rest. I just see 5-on-5 and I can extrapolate the rest. I can identify the guys through 5-on-5. I want that guy on an overtime. I want that guy on a 5-on-4. I want that guy killing penalties. I want that guy on power play. And I don't care if they are or are not on a current power play, right? I just don't care. I just go, that's the type of player that I could see playing in that role. Like, it's a part of the game, of course, but I think as a part of the game, it's significantly more about not their abilities there, but who you play in in that environment. And I don't really care like the results, because like, yeah, like, it's not a normal state of play for the game. And I think you can get yourself into a lot of trouble getting taken with a player on the power play, being like, well, look at this thing I saw. It's like, well, great, but a penalty kill is on its own, like, often a lot more passive than a 5-on-5 defense group. So like, it gives you a lot more room to do whatever you want. So in my experience, I find like, I just kind of go, you know what? Like, I'd rather just go 5-on-5. Oh, Manny Malhotra got hired. Oh, shocker. There it is. I mean, that's a good hire. I think Manny Malhotra's a great coach. He was here in Toronto for a while, and he seems very smart. So yeah, good for him. What's the process to get prospects on for game tape? You probably would want to ask Tony about that. I mean, Tony's built up contacts over the years, just reaching out and talking, and teams keeping him in their mind. So there's that. Usually you just ask the teams, you know, show them a couple videos, tell them what the show is, and some like it more than others. I think you're wrong about being wrong with Cutter Gauthier. I remember the beginning of the season, you had him somewhere in the late teens when he wasn't on anyone else's radar. I mean, I appreciate the comfort, but I do remember, I mean, he has turned out to be very, very good, and I think he was worth taking where he went, and I did not believe that at the time. But I'm glad it worked, because I did really like him. But yeah, I mean, I saw the data on him, and I just went, yeah, he's got lessons to learn, and I don't know, but it worked. He's pretty good. I think he's a huge reason Beckett Seneca had as successful a year as he did. I think him and McTavish, complemented Seneca perfectly, and I think Gauthier, he would be just fine without Seneca, and I'm not sure I would say the same thing about Seneca without Gauthier. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I've really liked Cutter Gauthier with Anaheim this year. Excuse me. Chris Peters had the semi-hot take prediction that there's a possibility Cullen could be the best player from the draft. I think there's a possibility of that. It's possible. It's a long shot. There are some really good players available. But in terms of skill and some of the craziest high upside moments I've seen out of him, yeah, I could see it. For sure. Good coach. Give him a few years. Sure. how much would you laugh if Carolina won the Stanley Cup, picked 31st, and take Mathis Preston? Well, it would be very funny. I don't think they would, but it would be very funny. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Regardless, they're gonna get someone really good there. They're just gonna sit there and go, wait, we can get this guy? All right. I think the CHL either goes younger, well, it will, or the leagues will get a little older and teams push guys to under 18 for a year or two. Well, my understanding is that the end result is the former. It's going to trend younger. I think that we're going to see the OHL and Q match the WHL's draft rules for synergy across the country, for simplicity's sake. And I think the CHL is just going to trend younger, and a lot of the older guys will go to college. I don't know. The only guys that would stay probably are the ones that are like, I'd rather just go to U Sports or not go to school at all and just keep playing hockey. That's my understanding of what the long-term trajectory is. And that the under 18s world will be more of where the CHL lives. Okay, what do we got here? Could Gustafsson ever be a top pair defenseman, a best defenseman on a good team? I mean, it may be, but I think he's a long ways away. It's going to take time. He's got a lot of upside as a really good minute muncher, though. Like, I think he could, at the very least, be a good second pair guy that can play some good defensive hockey. I think his offensive game is also pretty understated, but I mean, his defensive tools are great. And yeah, maybe. It's possible. Thoughts on Catton's rookie campaign? I know you're really high on him. Yeah, I mean, like, Seattle is so weird. I mean, whenever I watched Seattle this year, I thought Berkeley Catton looked pretty good. I want to see who he was playing with. I'm going to look at hockeyviz.com, one of the greatest resources that's worth every penny that I've ever given Micah. Like, his numbers weren't phenomenal at all. But he was a net positive offensive player and not a net negative defensive one. Didn't get much power play time. He was like a fourth line, maybe third line guy. And he was playing with Shane Wright, Capo Caco here and there, a little bit of Chandler Stevenson. He kind of got put in the blender a little bit. Boy, it really didn't work with a Tolvan and Stevenson line. Yikes. That really didn't work. But, like, yeah, it seems like his best stretch kind of came with McCann and Wright, it looks like, on his line, which I could see working. But, yeah, I mean, Catton, I was a little surprised to see him make the team. But, like, he also couldn't go to the AHL, and that kind of sucks. So I probably would have rather had him, like, I don't know. He shouldn't have gone back to junior, though. He would have pulverized junior hockey. Maybe him not going back to junior hockey single-handedly made Mathis Preston a second-round pick. But Berkeley Catton, though, I liked him. I think he definitely needs to gain a step in his skating ability to play his way in the NHL. I don't think they were playing him much at center. And I feel like he's one of these guys where I'm just not sure he's a winger. I could be wrong, though. But, I mean, he's playing with McCann, so I would imagine, and Wright, so I imagine he wasn't playing much center. Let's see. Did he take any faceoffs this year? Not really. He took about 2 faceoffs a game, so not really. And he was a 44% in the faceoff dot. So that's too bad. But yeah, he wasn't eligible to go to the AHL. I wouldn't be surprised to put him there to start the year. Seattle just has a lot of guys ahead of him on the list. It's kind of weird. But I still really like him. We'll see where he goes, but I love him. Schmitz or Gustafsson as NHL players? Well, I have Schmitz higher. I see Schmitz as a Brent Burns, but a Gustafsson is like, I don't know. I feel similarly about Gustafsson as I did like a Moritz Seider, right? Like really mobile, really good defensive tools, really smart defensive tools. Some offense, but not the hallmark of his game. Schmitz is more Brent Burns style. He's just a riot to watch. If you had your pick of an NCAA school you would go to as a prospect, which would you pick and why? Like, I can't say, it's hard to say because a lot of it I'd probably base my decision off of like just the campus itself, because I'm a environment type guy. I'm a big believer in if my environment is good, I will develop well as a person. So, and I haven't been on campus at a whole lot of schools. I mean, I would love to play in somewhere in the Big Ten, right? Michigan, Michigan State, Wisconsin. I don't think I would fit in very well at the Wisconsin program, though. Like Minnesota seems like it would be really fun. Harvard would be interesting, like an Ivy League school. Be one of those nose thumbing Harvard Business School guys. I could do that, sure. I've been to Boston University's campus. It's quite nice, but meh. I don't know. What else do we got here? What's the ultimate bull case on Ignatavicius? A middle six play driving guy. Like, he really reminds me of discount smaller Slavkovsky. That's kind of how I see him. Just kind of moving the puck around, making good passes, going to the net, being kind of physical, just kind of a good dude doing stuff. And you like having one of those around. Slavkovsky's a very good example of one, but Ignatavicius is interesting in that way. If the three forwards are off the board, who do you think Chicago picks? If by three forwards you mean what? Stenberg, McKenna, Malhotra? I mean, I think Schmitz would make a lot of sense in Chicago, but you just drafted Schmitz, but what you hope would be Schmitz in Levshinov. They're similar players. I mean, if I'm Chicago, like, you just drafted so much. You have so much of everything. Maybe I just go Schmitz and play him immediately. That probably would be what I would do. Maybe trade down. I don't know, man. Chicago's in that tough spot where it's like they've just drafted so much. Like, they should have some of everything, and they kind of do. So, like, they could just do whatever they want, really. And it's like, whatever. I don't know. Where do you think DuPont goes? Also Joseph, if he leaves the queue. I mean, I hope Denver. We mentioned this earlier in the show. I hope Denver. Joseph, I don't think is leaving Quebec, especially now that it seems like Jamie Glantz is coming to town. Like, I feel like Joseph will stick around for a year, especially because they're going to the Memorial Cup, right? It's in St. John next year. 2027 Memorial Cup is in. Oh, it's in Guelph. Never mind. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Sharks at 6 overall. Who would you take if you're Conroy? I mean, I'd really think about Tynan Lawrence. I think Lawrence with Potter and all those other guys, and like, I would not want to play the Calgary Flames with those guys. Yeah, draft Schmitz so we can carry Levshinov, exactly. Sell me on the Sharks taking a defenseman at 2. I feel like our winger pipeline isn't as good as people make out. I mean, it's not amazing, but you do have guys that could play. Like, Chernyshov's floating around. Musty is still pretty good. Flawed, but still pretty good. I mean, a Sharks taking a defenseman at 2, I just don't think it's necessary. Like, I think you could get good defensemen outside of the top 2. There's a lot of good ones, right? Like, outside the first pick you have, like, I'll just list off a bunch that you could probably get later. Villeneuve, maybe Gustafsson. I love Verdi Svensk, Håkansson, Blyle, Piperinen, Golier, Liskey. Hell, even if you go down as far as like Luke Scherer, Ben McBeath. I mean, I don't really like all that much Daxon Rudolph, but like, he's a decent player. Ala Lowry, like, these are all good defensemen. Hell, Lincoln Keene is a really good defensive defenseman that you could get later on and not think about it. You could take a huge swing in the 7th round on Václav Nedorost, and you could end up with a really fun player there. Like, you don't have to just draft your defenseman right away if you don't, like, I don't think there is a defenseman outside of maybe Albert Schmitz. And look, I love Xavier Villeneuve, but I wouldn't draft him at 2. Maybe I would if I had a little bit to drink and had a little bit of confidence in my blood, but I don't think I could do it. And plus, you don't have to. You get, like, you may end up with one of the best defensemen in the entire draft class by drafting Villeneuve in the 2nd round. Like it's not we need a defenseman, so the first thing we do in the draft, we go after one. We just do it. We go after one. That's it. I don't think that makes sense. You don't have to, at least, especially not this year. Last year, defense was not in high demand so much, but this year there are some good ones. And even if you don't take one at 2, I know you asked me to sell you on it, but I don't know if I can. There are candidates I would consider, but it would be really hard for me to say no to the guys that I have there. Really hard. What are Hermansson's strengths and weaknesses? Very, 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 very skilled, very agile, very creative, very frustrating. He's basically Wyatt Cullen. Kind of similar. If he was playing for the Rangers, we're talking Catton, I think. Yeah, he would have gained 20 pounds over the summer, exactly. It's interesting to see what these Catton tier of prospects are being told to work on in the offseason. Like when Hellenius gets home from being a winner, what's he going to work on? I don't know. Hellenius is good. I mean, he's had a really good year, obviously. Buffalo Sabres fans are reminding me of that. Apparently, I didn't like him enough. I don't know. Whatever. But, like, yeah, he had a good year, a very good year. Winning a world championship helps. I don't know. If he could just get quicker, I think if he gets quicker, it's going to be all he really needs to do. Could be really good. Where's Dax and Rudolph on your list? Maybe I'm overcorrecting, but I've got him at 60. Who's going to be the highest pick in relation to average ranked position this year? Villeneuve is for sure the opposite. He might go for drop for no reason. Well, there are reasons he could drop. I think there are legitimate reasons he could drop. Honestly, I could see like a Brooks Rogowski going really quick. Ryder Cali could go earlier than people think. Tommy Blyle might go earlier than people think. Oliver Suvanto might. I think it's going to be fun. I think people are going to see how NHL lists are wildly different from people's consensus lists, I think, in this year's class. I think we're going to see some fun stuff. Would you go for Cullen at 4? Oof. Depends on how much I've had to drink. Probably not. I would start to think about Cullen at 7 or 8, something like that. Like, I don't know. I don't think you can convince me to take Cullen over Preston. Like, if you're going to complain about Mathis Preston's hockey IQ and you give Wyatt Cullen a pass, I'm sorry, but you're missing the boat, right? You're missing a lot, I think. And but like Villeneuve or Verhoff or Gustafsson, Reed, it would be a tough sell, but it's possible. I think it's possible. Will Scouch for Prime Minister? Well, we're working on that 1 week at a time. I think I'd be able to do more actual good if I were Premier, though, of Ontario. I think if I were Premier of Ontario, that would be... Or Mayor. Mayor of my local city sounds awfully good. And I like where I live, so it wouldn't be necessarily for an ego trip. I think there's a lot of potential in the city in which I live. And we're a pretty nice place to live, so I can't complain too much, honestly. It would be a place I'd be proud to be mayor of. Premier is a lot, and I don't think people would like me very much, but maybe. We'll see. Maybe we'll get there one day. Do you think more high-end prospects will initially struggle in the NCAA like McKenna, Verhoff, or Lawrence? did. Is that something to watch? Well, sure. I mean, I think any player will adjust in the NCAA. Like, it just takes time adjusting anywhere. It's a really, really tough environment. You know, I don't know. I think it's like in Verhoff and Lawrence's case, especially, like, I thought McKenna was fine to start the year. I didn't think he was that bad. I think he got better, but the skill level took him a long way. Verhoff and Lawrence, I think, definitely learned a lot and got a lot better over the course of the year, especially Lawrence. I thought Lawrence was really good for BU in their last few games of the year. Regardless of how much he scores, I thought he looked really good there. But yeah, I mean, look, I've said it many times that I think we need to start thinking about the NCAA like a European Pro League, where it's like if they go there and they're half a point a game, but they're 17 and playing against 23, 24-year-olds and, you know, some of the best non-professional teams in the world that we've ever seen. Yeah, like that's a tall order. That's a tall order. Was curious where you compare Rudolph to. You talk about how there are a lot of areas of his game might translate. I'm trying to understand the comparable. Honestly, like that's part of the thing with Rudolph, right? When I watch Dax and Rudolph, I go, what NHL player plays like this? And I cannot think of a single one. Like, I don't know. Like, he's a defenseman who shoots the puck really, really well and is basically completely absent defensively. He skates with his knees locked. He's floating out at the blue line a lot. He's soft on his stick checks, soft on his physical pressure. Just not, guys get through him constantly. Like, if that's what a good defensive player looks like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. I made a video about him. You can watch it if you haven't already, but yeah, even if I'm wrong, it's just not the type of defenseman I'm drafting super high and putting in my system for a system that I would want. It's just not my thing. Maybe a team sees it differently, maybe, but I just do not get it with him at all. I can't think of one. That's why he's not in my top. Like, usually if I can't immediately think of an NHL player that a player reminds me of in the top 40, 50, then I don't think they should be there, right? Like, if you watch Daxton Rudolph in the defensive zone and you think, if I'm an NHL fan and this guy was a top 10 pick on my team, is this the type of thing that I would want on the ice for 20 minutes a night? And I just don't think so. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I saw the worst games he's ever played. I don't know, but it's just not, he's just not my type of guy. What's the deal with Jonas Lagerberg-Hohen? Haven't heard much from, honestly, like, okay, the Discord server can back me up on this. There were some people who have been involved in this. He's been hurt for a long time this year. He might be, in the sample that I've done on him, one of the best data cases that I have in my data set this year. And I went back and watched all of the video that I've pulled on him to this point, and we did it as a group twice. The kid's really freaking good, man. He is big and skilled and really aggressive in the offensive zone. Like, he is not shy. He is not perimeter oriented. He's a pretty good back checker when he puts his mind to it. Really good skater with good speed for a big guy like that. Like, I bet if he played the full season, he would be playing for Leksand and trying to keep that team out of Hockey Allsvenskan towards the end of the year. Like, I thought he looked pretty good in the very limited time in the SHL that he's had. I think he's grown a ton in his game over the last 12 months, 18 months. I love him. I think he's a great player. I know he had a really bad injury. That obviously requires some legwork, but I bet if he played a full season, people would have him in the late first round, maybe early second. You know what I mean? Sharks fan here. Thanks for all the hard work. You're very welcome. It is a lot of work. In general, how do you feel your list tend to reflect actual draft day decisions, would you say? Well, it's a really great question. I love that you asked it. I think you get a couple of answers there. Number one, a lot of the time, like, my favorite time of the year is July, because that's when NHL scouts tell you their thoughts. Like, I get hints, right? Inklings, but it's their job not to tell it. They can't leak stuff to me, right? The scouts that I talk to, obviously, it would be insane. But no matter how hard I try sometimes. But in July, the guys are picked. So they can kind of let loose a little bit and they can kind of tell you it's over, right? Like they don't care. And to a certain extent. And it is pretty incredible how often I hear it's like these hot takes that I have, these wild, outlandish ideas. They're like, that's not unusual. Like that, there were people who believe, like I said this before, but I sent my list to a scout, a couple of them, but last time I published one in April, I sent them to a couple of scouts and one of them came back to me and was like, it's scorching hot, but it's entirely defensible. And I was like, that's exactly the words I would say personally as well. I can defend all of my thoughts. I do it twice a week for 5 hours a week. You know, I put myself in front of the camera and let people prod me and poke at me and ask me stuff. And I love doing it. Don't get me wrong, but it is really fun in July to hear from NHL guys and go like, yeah, like we thought the same thing, or we had this guy that we actually drafted in our 5th round ahead of a guy that went top 10, or this team had this guy apparently way higher and they got him in the 4th round, or yada, yada, yada. You hear all kinds of stuff. Or you hear stuff where it's like, yeah, that guy fell because yada, yada, yada. And you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. You know, fair enough. And there's all kinds of stuff like that. So it does and it doesn't. I mean, like I obviously have some takes that are quite hot, and I see the game in a way that, and I reach my takes and my results and my goals, not goals, but I reach my results in an extremely unusual way, in a way that I don't think anybody else really does it the way I do it in the same way. So, I mean, there might be a handful, but not very many. So I do come to quite different conclusions than a lot of people. But nevertheless, it is pretty funny. So it reflects some things. There are some trends where people are like, yeah, X or Y or whatever, but not always. Further to your point about draft lists this year being insane, Promin did a poll about top 10s with scouts and someone ranked Klepov 10th. Yeah, I mean, like, it's all over the place. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know what the hell's going to happen in the next few weeks, but off we go. I'm really curious who Bill Zito will draft. Does Gustafsson remind you of Mikkola at all? I think he's better than Mikkola, man. I mean, they're kind of similar, but I could see Mikkola. I see Gustafsson as a hugely high ceiling player if things go well, especially because of how young he is, and he's still pretty thin, which we'll see where he goes. Yeah, Malte Voss at 14 for Columbus. Exactly. There you go, right? Like, wow, it was something. I don't know. I've learned over the years that I'd rather have hot takes and put my neck out there and be wrong than be scared and do what everyone else is doing, because like everyone else also makes mistakes, right? And like I'd rather at least have conviction in my beliefs than go, oh, well, everyone else was doing it, so I did it too. You know, like, I don't know. I have my thoughts, and I know that like I'm only one guy, you know? I'm one guy. I can get through 600-700 games of players over the course of the year. That's generally what I do. And like, sure, there might be guys I don't see enough of. There might be guys that I do see too much of. There might be, like, it's just, that's just how it is. And so like, that's why if I were working for an NHL team, I wouldn't be the only one doing this. There would be people I would want, at least 3 more that do what I do. I could lead them, but like, it would be a group of people, because I would want as wide and broad a viewpoint and opinions, and people and I'd want people who were like, oh yeah, this guy that me haven't seen as much as they have. Here's a series of things that I think would change your mind. I know we like player X, but I like player Y in this range too, because here's my evidence, blah. And I can at least feel like I can neutrally sit back and go, okay, fair enough. I think you might be onto something. It might be right, or I'm not so prideful that I'm like, anyone who disagrees with me is a moron, or I've never screwed anything up before in my life. You know, I'm not that, I'm not that much of a clown. So yeah, I don't know. I'm also just like very over being worried or concerned about what people think. You know what I mean? Like it's really just like not good. And I know that I put in the work. I know that I put in the work, and I know this is the time of year where everybody claims to be an expert, right? I want this player. Why? Oh, someone told me to. Okay. I don't know. I realize I'm in a different position than a lot of people, and I ain't perfect, but neither is the NHL. Definitely not perfect. Anyway. Telling that if your lists or takes are considered hot, where the players that you remain consistent with players are ranked across other boards. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, I don't really think I disagree that much with the consensus. Like, I've heard people talk about me as if I'm some psychotic nightmare. And then I look at what they put out and I'm like, I don't think we disagree on a whole lot. It's just, I think there are things that I value more than you do. And like that, but I see what you're saying. Like, I can at least understand where you're coming from. I just disagree in a lot of cases. And so it's like, okay, like you can think what you want, but I think we would agree a lot more than you think. That's fine. It's fine. Like I have some guys a lot higher than some others do, sure, but it's not that radical. It's not that radical. Takes people actually crucify you for are ones that aren't really aged poorly yet. Lambert and Lysell are the main ones. Could both be top sixers, assuming from next year. Saying those two for misses are far too hasty. I mean, I that's the thing too, is like, I do think that the people who don't do what I do and track these guys and watch them, I don't think they think about things from like the opportunities that their NHL team gives them. Like Fabian Lysell has shot himself in the foot a little bit in his, I think, this past season. That's what I think happened. But he was still very good for Providence. Very good. And he was very good the year before. Like, I think he's an NHL player. If he hits waivers next year, I would claim him. And I'd go, Boston, what are you going to do? Boston let you walk for nothing. What's your response? I want to be the beneficiary of this. Don't make me look stupid. We're going to play you. Make them regret it, man. This is your chance. And I bet, knowing what I know about Fabian Lysell, I bet he would respond to that in some way. And I bet people would be like, okay. But regardless, I had Wallstead higher than Lysell. So Wallstead would have been my guy for pick after pick after pick after pick after pick. Anyway, but Lambert, I see Lambert, Winnipeg keeping him on the wing, and he just was not very. He was looking for a trade. They call him up, and all of a sudden, whoa, this Brad Lambert guy looks like one of the only guys on the Jets. Who cares? It's like, you think? Like, imagine that. Imagine that. Who would have thought? Another young player that showcases talent that Winnipeg just will not play. Makes me dumb. Why do you think so many highly drafted defensemen in the last 3 to 5 years have been unable to provide immediate positive impact relative to their pedigree, Schaefer notwithstanding? Because they're not that good in the first place, man. Like, I think that there is a fundamental misunderstanding on how to value defensemen and what makes a defenseman truly some of the most valuable players in the league in the draft. Like, I just think that they're highly touted for bad reasons. They are just not, at the very least, I think that the gap between some of the very good defensemen this year and the ones a little lower down, there's a gap, but it's not that big. Like, there are deficiencies with, say, Chase Reed or Malte Gustafsson or Carson Karls or whatever that are filled by other guys. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the guys that work out that are drafted very high in the NHL draft that are defensemen in the last few years, outside of maybe a Schaefer, are the Lane Hudson types, even though he was almost a 3rd-round pick. The Quinn Hugheses, right? I'll happily, like, I look at Xavier Villeneuve and go, that guy plays like an elite NHL defenseman. If he has his head on straight, That guy could be that. I could see it. Why is Cole Hudson this good this quickly? Because he got the green light to attack the offensive zone way more. He's more explosive than he was, and I undervalued him like a fool. But in terms of like these guys, I think it's the guys that are rated as like two-way or defensive defensemen, and like I think Gustafsson is a very good defensive player. And I think Karls could be a very good defensive player one day. But I mean, Verhoff is a pretty good defensive player. But like, I think if the NHL is looking at Verhoff and going, he's not physical enough, that's what he needs to be, I'm going, you're not getting the point. That's not his game. That's not his style. He's an octopus. Keaton Verhoff is an octopus, not a mountain lion. Like, he's the type of guy who will sit back and just go bloop and poke the puck free. He'll go bloop, poke the puck free, turn it around, and bang, it's up the ice. That's Carson Carroll. That's Keaton Verhoff. He doesn't need to do much, but he just needs to stay in front of you, let you come to him with good gap control, and just go bloop. He was very good at it. Anyway, I don't know. Like, a lot of the times I just go, I'd rather just take a forward and bet on defensemen later. Or sign some defensemen. I don't know. But like, the number of times I've seen defensemen come and go in the draft that just do not defend very well because they often are not tested defensively. Insert literally any Canadian Hockey League defenseman over the last few years outside of Schaefer. Like, just watch them at the World Juniors. That's how they lose every year. That's how the Czechs win. They play like no other Canadian Hockey League team. They press them. They do the 2-1-2-4 check, press them below the goal line, and they turn the puck over. They cannot break the puck out. It is that simple. I'm telling you, that's just how it is. They end up resorting to flipping it out into the neutral zone, putting it off the glass and out because they don't know what to do, and they don't use open space very well. It's just rinse, lather, repeat every year. And those guys are the ones that everyone goes, yeah, those are elite prospects. Give me that guy in the top 5. Like, Levshinov was really troubling in his own end a lot. And I remember watching him. You mentioned him specifically, and that's all I'm going to say. You mentioned him specifically. I remember it's like I was sitting there going, like, if this guy is a good defenseman in his own end, I don't know what good defending is, because I'm watching this guy lose battle after battle, get outskated at time and time again, sloppy retrievals, aimless passing out of his own end. If that's what you want, and that's what a good player is in that sense at that level of the draft class, then okay, I'll see what happens. I don't think that's, a defenseman who's great in the offensive zone. I've learned over the years, I don't really care all that much. So, yeah. As a Sharks fan, how many defense in this first round do you like more than Dickinson? Well, Schmitz, I think so. Yes. Villeneuve, yes. Verhoff, pushing it. Gustafsson, I'd say I like Gustafsson more. Reed, I would say, is somewhat similar. Like, Dickinson this year is probably just after Chase Reed. He's probably at 11 or 12 or 13 on my list. Somewhere in there, right around where he was actually drafted. Like, that was a pretty good draft class, and I had him a little lower than that. This year it opens up a little quicker. The high end is really good, I think, but it opens up a little quicker. Anyway, we're way over time. I gotta run. It is late and my voice hurts, and I gotta record a bunch of videos tomorrow, so we're gonna call it a night. Thank you very much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we all had some good times. I'm scared to check my YouTube comments, but I shouldn't be. I'm a big boy. I'm a strong big boy. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. This was a lot of fun. We'll be back Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you're not a member of the Discord server, you join through scouching.ca, a subscription at any tier. We're doing goalies tomorrow, so it's goalie day all day tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be, just relaxing a little more tomorrow than I usually do and just watching some goalies. It's going to be fun. So, yeah, looking forward to it. So we'll see you around. See you Thursday afternoon. I will change the batteries in my little light up there. I tried earlier, but I guess I put in batteries that were actually dead. When next thing, just so you know, if you're changing batteries in a thing and have charged batteries in one hand, you remove the batteries from the object. Don't put them in the same pocket as the charged batteries. because they are the same, and it is impossible to tell which ones are. Anyway, that's all you need to know. Also, thank you to my correspondent, my lovely sister, for her work watching the Marley's game tonight. She got my son Bill to score a goal, so we're happy about that. And we'll see you Thursday afternoon. So thank you very much. Bye-bye. I'm going to go drink some cold water. Okay, bye.